Greetings. My name is Evelyn, and I am 42 years old. I reside in a tranquil suburban neighborhood with my husband, Benjamin, and my stepson, Theodore. Life here is predominantly serene. However, I frequently experience a profound sense of isolation within my marriage. Benjamin, a corporate attorney, is always busy with back-to-back meetings, late nights at the office, and unending deadlines. Although I comprehend the pressures and responsibilities associated with his profession, it affords us scant time as a couple, often rendering me a mere observer in my own existence. Please subscribe to my channel to receive more captivating true stories like this one, and remember to watch this video. Continue watching until the conclusion, as this narrative promises to be exceptionally captivating. There was a time when Benjamin and I deeply intertwined, sharing humor, aspirations, and personal experiences. We constructed a life together replete with affection and camaraderie. Yet, at some point, the vitality diminished, and our evenings became increasingly frigid and subdued, characterized by stillness instead of the intimate dialogues we previously cherished. I frequently lie awake, gazing at the ceiling, contemplating my missteps. Notwithstanding all, I discovered a yearning for warmth that appeared absent from our partnership. Prior to commencing the narrative, please remember to subscribe to the channel for other enthralling stories that delve into the intricacies of human emotions and relationships. A few days later, while my husband Benjamin attended another late-night meeting, I found myself alone at home. The house was unsettlingly silent, the stillness nearly tangible, and my thoughts overwhelmed me as I contemplated. During a recent interaction with my stepson Theodore, I had a moment that revived emotions I had long suppressed. I had longed for the exhilaration of being desired, for the sensation of actually living that had been gone from my existence. In a desperate effort to alleviate the mounting anxiety within me, I opted for a prolonged, soothing bath, filled the tub with warm water, and lit a few scented candles, allowing the soft glow and fragrant steam to envelop me, creating an atmosphere of tranquility. The soothing warmth of the water caressed my skin as I sank into the tub, my body relaxing into the comforting embrace of the warm water. Yet my mind drifted back to Theodore, the way his hands had explored my body, the passion in his kisses, the way he made me feel so alive and so desired. It was intoxicating, and the memory sent a rush of heat coursing through me. I closed my eyes, imagining his touch and the desire that had sparked between us. The warmth of the water mingled with the warmth in my heart as I remembered the way he had looked at me, his gaze filled with longing and something deeper. A part of me was terrified, but another part craved that thrill, that connection. I was drawn to him like a moth to a flame, and I couldn't shake the feelings that had begun to awaken inside me. Suddenly I heard a soft knock at the bathroom door, and my heart raced as I quickly sat up, water, SL washing around me. "Who is it?" I called, trying to sound nonchalant, but I could hear the tremor in my voice. Theodore responded, his voice soft and appealing. A pleasure surged within me at the sound of his voice, causing my heart to speed. "What is your desire?" I inquired. Maintaining a buoyant tone despite my internal exhilaration, I inquired about your well-being. "You have been here for an extended while," he remarked, and I discerned a blend of concern and another emotion that intensified my heartbeat. I paused to regain my composure, attempting to suppress my emotions. However, the anticipation was palpable. "I am well," I replied. "I'm just taking a bath to cleanse my cheeks." Blushing at the thought of him standing outside the door, there was a brief pause before he asked again, "May I enter?" "I desire to see you, my beloved." My heart skipped a beat upon realizing he was waiting outside the door, and I felt compelled to admit him. Prior to my response, he opened the door and entered with a self-assured gait. My breath halted as I observed his appearance. His disheveled hair, the snug t-shirt adhering to his torso, and those penetrating blue eyes that appeared to look through me, rendering me vulnerable in an unforeseen manner. "I presumed you would appreciate some companionship," he remarked, his eyes wandering to the flickering candles throughout the room. I was astonished by his audacity, sensing the atmosphere become charged with tension. I am uncertain if that is a prudent suggestion. I stammered, my heart beating as I endeavored to appear composed, despite an overwhelming desire to draw him nearer. "Come now, we have a brief moment of solitude," he implored, advancing a step closer. I sensed the heat emanating from him, and the atmosphere became charged, awakening a profound yearning within me. The desire that had accumulated over the preceding days reignited, compelling me to be close to him. I could sense the intensity of his yearning, causing my pulse to accelerate. All right," I eventually muttered, shocking myself. His gaze dipped toward the sea as he approached, temporarily emboldening me. He expressed curiosity about the sensation of joining her, his voice low and playful, eliciting thrills up my spine. I swallowed with difficulty, my heart racing as I contemplated the possibility of Benjamin's arrival. "Residence?" I inquired, attempting to appear pragmatic while covertly desiring him to dismiss my apprehension. He proposed that we remain silent, his smirk widening as he leaned even closer, the warmth of his body radiating against my skin. Before I could respond, he reached out his fingers, grazing my arm, igniting a fire within me. "Just let me in," he said, his voice laced with longing that echoed in my heart. I hesitated, caught between the thrill of desire and the weight of my conscience, but the thrill of his touch was too much to resist. "Fine," I murmured, my voice shaky but just for a moment without another word. Theodore stood up, shedding his t-shirt and stepping into the tub beside me. The warm water swirled around us as our bodies drew closer, and the intimate setting heightened the electricity in the air. I felt the world outside fade away as we locked gazes, the water splashing around us, his body inches from mine. "This feels nice," he said softly, his fingers brushing against my thigh, igniting a fire within me that I had long thought extinguished. "It does," I replied, my breath hitching as he moved closer, our bodies now mere inches apart. In that moment, the tension broke, and he leaned in, capturing my lips with his kiss. It was soft at first, a gentle exploration of unspoken desire. "But it does," I replied, my breath hitching as he moved closer, our bodies now mere inches apart. In that moment the tension broke, and he leaned in, capturing my lips with his kiss. It was soft at first, a gentle exploration of unspoken desire, but it quickly deepened as passion surged between us. My hands found their way to his shoulders, pulling him closer as I melted against him, feeling the warmth of the water envelop us. Our kisses became more urgent, a dance of longing and desire that felt like a release from the loneliness I had been feeling for so long. I could feel his hands roaming over my back and then my chest, and he pressed my chest and started kissing there, igniting sensations I had long forgotten. The intoxicating thrill of being so close to him was almost overwhelming, and I surrendered to it. I inhaled audibly between kisses, entirely focused on Theodore. The intensity between us grew, ready to engulf us both. "Shh, shh," he murmured, his lips gliding down my neck, eliciting chills throughout my body. "Simply relish this." I shut my eyes, immersing myself in the feelings he was generating. Each kiss and touch ignited a sensation like fire, awakening something deep within me. My fingers tangled in his hair as he pulled me closer, our bodies fitting together as though we were made for this moment. With each kiss, the world outside faded completely, leaving only the two of us tangled together in the warm water. My heart raced as his hands explored my body, trailing down my arms and back up to my face, holding me tenderly as our kisses grew more passionate and desperate. God, I've wanted this for so long. He breathed, his lips brushing against mine before deepening the kiss again. Me too. I admitted feeling vulnerable, yet exhilarated by the intensity of the moment. I held onto him tightly, feeling a rush of excitement as his hands wandered, exploring my body in ways that made me feel alive. The boundaries I had established for myself started to dissolve, and I surrendered to the intensity of the moment. I also held him intimately, and he breathed, his lips brushing against mine before deepening the kiss again. Me too, I admitted, feeling vulnerable, yet exhilarated by the intensity of the moment. I held onto him tightly, feeling a rush of excitement as his hands wandered, exploring my body in ways that made me feel alive. Boundaries I had set for myself began to blur, and I let myself succumb to the heat of the moment. I also held him intimately, and he took my body shower in his hand, slowly applying it to my old body as his hand slowly went down towards my hips, the water soaking around us, heightening the sensations. Suddenly, a loud noise shattered the silence, causing both of us to freeze. I recognized the distinct sound of the front door opening, and my heart sank. "Benjamin," I muttered, dread overwhelming my senses, and Theodore swiftly recoiled, his eyes wide, as we both hurried to regain our composure. "What actions do we undertake?" he inquired. With his voice taut with urgency, I screamed, gesturing towards the shower curtain. We swiftly relocated, both of us crouching behind the shower curtain, our hearts beating as we held our breath, hoping Benjamin would not enter the bathroom. I heard him going through the house saying, "Evelyn, are you here?" The tension was excruciating as we stood pressed together, sensing the heat emanating from one another. My heart beat not only from dread, but also from the exhilaration of recent events. I sensed Theodore's warm breath on my neck, and adrenaline surged through my veins. Benjamin stepped into the bathroom, and I tightly closed my eyes, hoping that no one would find us. He commenced washing his hands at the sink, entirely oblivious to the turmoil occurring behind the curtain. The sound of the flowing water served as a stark reminder of our fragile circumstances. After what seemed like a lifetime, Benjamin completed his task and exited the bathroom. As the door clicked shut behind him, Theodore and I exchanged a relieved smile, our pulses still racing from the narrow escape. "That was close," Theodore murmured, his voice laden with exhilaration. "I can hardly believe we just accomplished that," I responded. My body was still buzzing from the encounter, filled with a rush of adrenaline and desire, and the danger of it all exhilarated me. "Do you want to continue?" he inquired, his gaze intense and brimming with desire. I hesitated, knowing the risks involved, but also feeling a rush of adrenaline mixed with desire. My body was still humming from the encounter, and I felt exhilarated by the danger of it all. "Do you want to continue?" he inquired, his gaze intense and filled with longing. I hesitated, knowing the risks involved, but also feeling the undeniable pull toward him. "Yes," I whispered. My body was still humming from the encounter, and I felt exhilarated by the danger of it all. "Do you want to continue?" he inquired, his gaze intense and filled with longing. I hesitated, knowing the risks involved, but also feeling the undeniable pull toward him. "Yes," I whispered, my voice barely audible. We stepped out from behind the curtain, our eyes locked, the tension crackling in the air. I took a step toward him, my heart racing as I reached out, pulling him into another kiss as our lips met again. I felt a thrill of excitement this time. It was different. It was no longer just a secret. It was a connection, a passion that couldn't be denied, and I was ready to embrace it no matter the consequences. I could feel the urgency in his movements as he kissed me deeply, and I surrendered to the moment, allowing myself to feel everything I had been holding back for so long. A few days later, it was late afternoon, and the sun streamed through the kitchen window as I prepared dinner. The scent of sautéed vegetables filled the air, a stark contrast to the lingering excitement from our last encounter. I found myself daydreaming, recalling every touch and kiss, the way Theodore had made me feel so alive. As I stirred the pot on the stove, I heard the front door creak open, followed by the familiar sound of Theodore's footsteps. My heart skipped a beat as he walked into the kitchen, a playful smile on his face. "Hey, what smells so good?" he inquired while leaning against the counter, merely preparing dinner. I said, attempting to maintain my composure, "How was your day?" He said it was tedious and long, his eyes sparkling with malice, but my presence improved it. I asked if the situation had piqued his interest. "What do you mean when you say that his approach enhances the already inviting warmth of the kitchen?" "Being in your presence consistently enhances my day," he remarked, his tone soft and inviting. His gaze elicited a fluttering sensation in my gut, rekindling memories of our shared experiences. I redirected my attention to the stove, attempting to seem occupied while my heart raced. I merely stated it in an effort to divert the intensity of his stare. "No, I am earnest." He persisted in advancing much nearer till he was directly behind me. "I am unable to cease contemplating you and our relationship." His words exhilarated me, prompting an involuntary peek over my shoulder at him. "Theodore, we cannot continue this way. It is intricate." He inclined forward, taking a break. He rested his chin on my shoulder, radiating the warmth of his body onto my back. "What is the reason for this? We both desire this, do we not?" I briefly closed my eyes, relishing his warmth, the alluring scent of his cologne, and the palpable energy that permeated the air between us. "I desire it," I confessed, my voice little above a whisper, although it is perilous. "Occasionally, life's most rewarding experiences come with a hint of danger," he said, his lips brushing my ear and sending a shiver down my spine. "Let us savor the experience while it is available to us." I took a deep breath, my heart pounding as I considered his words. He was right. I had been longing for this connection, this spark of passion that made me feel alive again. My heart raced with desire, and I felt myself yielding to his allure. "Okay," I whispered, turning around to face him fully. The air thickened with anticipation as I searched his eyes, feeling filled with a mix of hope and longing, just for tonight. A triumphant smile spread across his face, and before I could second-guess myself, he took my hand, leading me out of the kitchen and down the hallway to my bedroom. The thrill of being caught danced in the back of my mind, but the allure of the moment overpowered my hesitation once inside my room. He closed the door behind us, locking it softly in. The atmosphere shifted instantly, the energy palpable as he turned to face me, his expression fresh, serious, yet hungry. "I've thought about this moment for days," he said, stepping closer, his fingers brushing against mine. I put my hands inside his pants. In an attempt to sate my desires, he encircled my waist, drawing me closer until our bodies were in close contact. Without uttering another word, his lips met mine, and I surrendered to him, experiencing an exhilarating surge of desire coursing through my veins. My hands explored beneath his shirt as our kisses intensified, rendering the outside world non-existent, leaving only the two of us entwined in our fervor. As our kisses intensified, they ignited an internal flame, a yearning that had been quietly simmering beneath the surface. He commenced to investigate my body with his. His touch ignited every nerve ending. I moaned into his mouth as he massaged my back, urging me closer until I could feel his heartbeat against my chest. "You are exquisite," he said between kisses, his fingertips locating the edge of my shirt. "I am completely enthralled with you, Theodore," I uttered, the excitement of his touch igniting waves of warmth inside me. He implored that we should not passively allow it to occur. Driven by desire, a husky figure prompted us to set aside all else for the night. In one fluid motion, he lifted my shirt over my head, his gaze surveying my body with unreserved admiration. I experienced a blend of vulnerability and exhilaration as I stood before him, exposed and radiant in his eyes. With a soft gasp, I felt his lips against my skin, trailing kisses down my collarbone. Each touch ignited a fervor within me. My hands explored his back, sensing the muscles beneath his shirt, yearning to caress every inch of him. He captured my lips once more, his hands moving to my back to unfasten my bra. The sensation of the strap slipping away elicited another wave of heat within me as he pushed the fabric aside, his fingers grazing my skin. He broke the kiss to gaze at me, his expression awash with awe. "You're incredible," he murmured, his eyes brimming with desire. "I want you," I confessed. I was experiencing both audacity and imprudence at that moment. "Let us render this indelible." He expressed his yearning, kissing me again with greater fervor, probing every contour of my mouth as our bodies intertwined. The external world vanished entirely. I became engulfed in him, our kisses intensifying as he pinned me against the wall, his hands traversing my body as though he were uncovering each aspect of me anew. Time became irrelevant as we yielded to our desires, the exhilaration of our union propelling us beyond our limits. I felt invigorated, coveted, and completely enveloped by our connection. Ultimately, he withdrew, panting, and took my hand, guiding me to the bed. "Are you prepared?" he inquired, his eyes dark with yearning. "Yes," I whispered, my heart racing with anticipation. We collapsed onto the bed, our bodies entwined, and the exhilaration of our actions surged through me. It was a moment of passion and desire that felt both forbidden and electrifying as we surrendered to each other. I recognized that this was merely the inception of our passionate escapade, a thrilling secret that would transform everything between us, and I was prepared to embrace it entirely, regardless of its destination. Days morphed into weeks, and our encounters became increasingly frequent. Each moment we seized together was akin to a breath of fresh air, a fleeting escape from reality. We discovered solace in stolen glances, gentle touches, and fervent kisses that left us both breathless. One evening, after a particularly exhilarating rendezvous, we lay entwined in bed, the soft glow of moonlight filtering through the curtains as I traced my fingers along Theodore's chest, experiencing the warmth emanating from him. "What are we undertaking?" I inquired, disrupting the serene silence. The question lingered, laden with consequences. He responded, his voice unwavering for the first time in an extended period. I grinned at his response, while doubt eroded the periphery of my joy. "What occurs when an individual discovers the information?" I inquired, my tone laced with concern. "We will address it," he stated, raising my chin to meet his eyes. "I am unafraid of my desires." Your words stirred a wave of warmth through me, yet I couldn't shake the feeling of impending danger. I acknowledged the burden of my emotions for him. although this is not merely a source of amusement. It holds significance for me." He nodded, his demeanor grave. "It holds significance for me as well, although we must not allow fear to impede our progress. We have a right to happiness." The earnestness in his words alleviated my concerns. I leaned in and captured his lips in a fervent kiss. The intensity of our connection intensified, causing me to lose myself in the moment, dispelling all my doubts as we kissed, and I had a profound sensation of liberty. We were composing our narrative, replete with fervor, longing, and the exhilaration of the illicit. In the subsequent weeks, we discovered methods to maintain our connection. Amidst the tumult of our daily existence, each fleeting moment became increasingly invaluable, and I anticipated our meetings with a blend of exhilaration and trepidation. I relished the exhilaration of our clandestine encounters as Theodore gazed at me with eyes brimming with longing and admiration. Each kiss and touch rekindled a dormant passion within me. However, despite my efforts to concentrate on our shared joy, the harsh reality of our circumstances loomed in my consciousness. I could not dispel the sensation that we were existing on borrowed time, precariously teetering on the brink of disaster. At times, I found myself contemplating the implications of Benjamin discovering our affair. His wrath would be inevitable. Would he comprehend, or would he perceive me as a traitor, an individual who had transgressed an unimaginable boundary? One evening, as I prepared dinner, Theodore's thoughts consumed me. I diced vegetables with a mechanical cadence while my thoughts wandered far beyond. At that moment, Benjamin entered the kitchen, his presence grounding me in reality. "Hello, dear," he remarked. He planted a gentle kiss on my cheek. "What is the supper menu?" I responded with a simple, "Just pasta and salad," while mustering a grin as he entered the kitchen. We continued our amicable exchange, but I sensed an increasing estrangement. Secrets burdened my heart, and it felt as though I was putting on a facade of normalcy while turmoil simmered beneath the surface. Following supper, I excused myself, citing fatigue, and withdrew to my room. I perched on the bed's edge, my thoughts tumultuous. I was unable to refrain from revisiting the moments Theodore and I had experienced together, his caress, his kiss, the manner in which he invigorated my spirit. I longed for him. At that moment, my phone vibrated with a message. It was from Theodore. "Shall we convene?" This evening, my heart raced at the prospect of experiencing the exhilarating connection with him once more, a temptation too compelling to ignore. I promptly responded, affirming my anticipation as the evening progressed. Anticipation surged within me. I observed Benjamin traversing the house while viewing television. I was sitting in the living room, completely unaware of the schemes that were taking place behind closed doors. At 10 o'clock, my heart raced upon hearing a gentle knock on my bedroom door. Evelyn Theodore's voice was barely audible. I opened the door to discover him standing there, appearing as handsome as I recalled. Tension charged the atmosphere as our eyes met. I silently ushered him inside and shut the door. "What if you isolate yourself, and Benjamin notices you?" I said urgently. "He won't," to which he responded as he moved closer. The warmth of his body emanated towards me, and I sensed the magnetic attraction between us. I simply needed to see you. Before I could reply, he approached and seized my lips in a fierce kiss. The external world diminished as I immersed myself in him. Experiencing the familiar surge of longing enveloped me. Our kisses intensified, and I sensed the burdens of everything else dissipate as we staggered toward the bed. I struggled to think clearly. The exhilaration of concealment and the delicious warmth of his body inundated my senses. We collapsed onto the bed, engulfed in a tempest of kisses and caresses. I felt invigorated and completely absorbed by our connection, yet a fleeting concern emerged. What if this was a mistake? What if I were endangering all I had constructed with Benjamin? Yet at that time, none of it held significance. I desired to be present with Theodore. Residing in this captivating universe where I experienced desire and vitality for hours, we lay intertwined, oblivious to the burdens of the outer world. I recognized the necessity of contemplating the ramifications of my life with Benjamin, yet within Theodore's embrace, everything seemed idyllic. The intimacy we shared was unparalleled in years. However, a pang of guilt overcame me as the reality of the situation gradually infiltrated my consciousness. "Theodore," I uttered softly. Disrupting the tranquil silence, what actions are we undertaking? He gazed down at me, his demeanor grave. "We are alive, Evelyn. We are embracing something exquisite indeed. However, it is intricate." "What are the consequences if Benjamin discovers the truth?" I inquired, my voice quavering slightly. "We will address it together," he asserted resolutely, as though that would rectify the situation. I am not apprehensive about this. I wish to trust him. I hoped we could weather this storm together. However, doubt persisted in my heart. Yet I cannot simply abandon my life with Benjamin. "He merits superior treatment," I stated, overwhelmed with emotion. Something tugs at the corners of my eyes. "Do you love him?" Theodore inquired softly. Theodore lingered in the atmosphere laden with significance. I acknowledged my feelings for him, but it is not as though I had been devoid of such emotions for an extended period. "Perhaps it is time to confront your genuine desires," he remarked gently. "You deserve to be happy." At that moment, I recognized his correctness. I had been so preoccupied with the repercussions that I had overlooked my own happiness. In Theodore's gaze, I perceived not merely desire, but also a mirror of what had been absent in my existence. "I desire this," I stated ultimately. Experiencing a burst of courage, I desired you. His eyes glimmered with a blend of excitement and relief. "Let us not squander any further time," he stated, drawing me nearer as our lips connected once more. With every kiss, we vowed to cherish this intricate and wonderful relationship. I recognized that the path ahead would be arduous and fraught with problems, yet in that moment with Theodore by me, I felt prepared to confront whatever the future held. I was resolute in valuing each moment and pursuing my passions.